What's up guys, Greg here with Lens Pro to Go and Lens Rentals, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to set up and balance a gimbal. Specifically the MōVI Pro, but a lot of the things that I'm talking about and the actual techniques and how you balance it can be applied to a lot of different gimbals in this style. Getting a proper balance with your camera is important for three main reasons. The first one is your battery life and battery performance. If you have a camera that's not balanced properly, it's going to have to work the motors a lot harder, and that's going to drain the battery life much faster, and you're going to have to be swapping them out, and you won't get the best performance out of the batteries. The next thing is the wear and tear on the motors. If it's not balanced properly, like I said with the battery life, it has to work those motors a lot harder, and that's going to burn out those motors faster, and over time they could wear down and actually stop working. So making sure that your camera is balanced will extend the life and longevity of your gimbal. And then the last thing is motor vibrations. Now, when your motors are working a lot harder, there's a chance that there could be some sort of vibration in there, and that can translate into your camera and then into your footage. So you could be getting some sort of blurry or shaky footage because the motors are working so hard. So having a proper balance will allow the gimbal to work at its best and give you the smoothest and most stable shots. Now, before you start actually balancing your camera, you want to make sure that you have everything on here that you're going to put, whether that's wireless follow focuses or wireless video feed like Teradeks, anything that's going to be going on your camera or on your gimbal, you want to mount that first so that when you're balancing it, you're weighted correctly and it's not going to change it. And this includes any HDMI or SDI cables, because even just a cable like that can affect the balance and throw it off. So you want to make sure that everything is set up before you start balancing. Now, going over the gimbal before we actually get into the balance, there's 4 different adjustments we're going to have to make. We're going to have to make our forward-backward adjustment, so that's sliding the camera forward or backward. We're going to have to do our roll adjustment, which is our side-to-side adjustment. We're going to have to do our vertical up and down, so making sure that the camera is centered in the vertical position. And then the last thing is going to be our pan, which is this arm up here and this motor. Basically, the objective is to get the camera in the center of all of this stuff so that the gimbal can perform at its best. So starting with the forward and backward adjustment, what we're going to do is set the camera upright and then just let go of it and see which direction it falls. Our camera's falling forward, so that means we need to slide it backwards. To undo it, you want to grab a hand on the camera. You want to make sure that that's not going to go anywhere when you unlock it, because it could just slide right out. And then what we're going to do is unlock the center latch here, and you'll see that loosens it up, and now we can just slide it back and forth until we get it right in the center, slightly taking our hands off it, but always keeping them nearby just in case it starts to go. And that's looking pretty good, so I'm going to lock that down. Remember, we're going to come back and fine-tune these, so just get it pretty close and in the general area, and then we'll tweak it later. The next thing that we're going to do is our roll. So again, set the camera upright, and then we'll see which direction it falls if it goes from side to side. So leaving it set up and letting it go, it's looking like it's falling a little bit to the left side. So if we undo the 2 latches on the bottom, 1, 2, and then we can slide it to our right just a tiny bit. So it's already pretty close, and then we'll make sure to latch both of those down again. The next thing is our vertical tilt adjustment. Now this one's a little bit different to adjust. What you want to do is aim your camera directly straight up and then let go of it and see which direction it falls. So if it falls bottom first, that means the camera is bottom heavy, and if it flips over top down first, that means the camera is top heavy. So ours is definitely bottom heavy, and how we're going to adjust this is undo these 4 little latches, keeping your lens vertical and keeping a hand on the cage just like I have right here. And then we can slide this adjustment, and we'll just make small adjustments until it stays vertical when we let go of it, just like that. So we'll lock both of those down, staying right where we put it, which is exactly what we want. Now the last step that we're going to do is adjusting the pan axis, and if you notice on the MōVI, it's actually slanted when it sits on these feet, and that's to be able to do this adjustment much easier, and you don't have to hold it up and try and move it around to get that adjustment. So what we're going to do is pan the top of it off to the side and then see which direction it falls. If it falls towards the gimbal or the back end swings around trying to go lower, that means it's too back heavy or gimbal heavy. And if it swings with the camera forward, that means that the camera's too heavy, and so we need to make that adjustment. So if we put it off to the side here, and we can see that the camera is swinging towards the low point. So let me just unlock these. There's 2 latches right underneath the battery plates here. And I'm gonna go the other direction just so you can see what that looks like. So if I put it off to the side and let it go, now you can see it's trying to swing around and have the gimbal side be on the lower part. So again, just undo both of those latches, and we'll do just like we have with the rest of them. So doing small adjustments. That was a big adjustment there. So doing small adjustments with it off to the side until it stays right where you leave it. So that's looking pretty good. So now we have a pretty decent general balance, and you could even run it at this point. But if you want to go back and really fine tune it and make sure you're getting the best performance out of the gimbals and the batteries, what you're going to want to do is go back and just fine tune all of those little things again. So you should be able to, wherever you put this, it should stay exactly where you leave it. So you can see it's falling a little bit. That means my roll might be off a little bit. My tilt's looking pretty good. Put the roll up. Yeah, so the roll is slightly off, but it's pretty close. Again, you can just go back and you can fine tune all of these things. So you should be able to put this wherever you want and it stays locked in that position. Once you think you have a pretty good balance, what you can do is go ahead and turn on the gimbal, and then it'll boot up here. And then you can go in and you can run your auto tune. And then once it's done with that, you're good to go. You can also check on the back of the unit to see where the tuning levels are at and how good you did in your actual tune. So if I turn these around here, spin this around for you. So if all of those are green and pretty much right around that white dot, that means you did a good job balancing and you're gonna get the best performance out of your setup. Hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, let me know in the comments below, along with any questions that you might have. And also don't forget to subscribe for new videos every single week, and I'll see you in the next one.